Hello, welcome back to Monster Train card reviews featuring Cranberry. Cranberry, say hello.
You asked the question right before you started the video, and I was gonna try to answer, and I think I might have said something right when you started it, and I'm really nervous.
It doesn't matter. I didn't hear anything, so they probably didn't hear anything.
I'm okay. Hello.
Today we're doing Stygian. I don't think I have any crazy addendums to this to tack onto this one about Awoken.
I have an addendum to tack on.
Yeah?
After the first video, I was gonna say that I was like Eminem in every video, and I forgot to in the last one.
Are you Eminem in this
So
video?
yes, I am Slim Shady.
Ah. I'm actually joined by Slim Shady today, not Cranberry, sorry.
Yeah, it's a big step down, honestly.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I think I'd rather have Cranberry. I bet Eminem doesn't even play this game.
Yeah, I agree. Eminem, I feel like Eminem probably plays Fortnite.
Probably.
Not
I
that
mean,
there's
who
anything wrong
doesn't?
with it. I just think that that's his game.
Maybe if I switch to Fortnite, I can get Eminem to play Fortnite with you. Or with me.
Well, he'll play with me.
He'll play with you. You want to begin this?
Yeah.
Alright, we're doing Stygian today. Start off with Tethys. Oh, Tethys.
He's the cutest champion.
That's true. I don't know, have you seen Penumbra?
Undoubtedly. No. Come on.
So, 3 versions of Tethys. Most important thing to note about this, in my opinion, is that none of Tethys at level 3, no matter how you do it, Tethys never gets above 10 HP. I think this is Tethys' biggest weakness. But you, of course, have the Frostbite Tethys, which applies Frostbite when he strikes. You have the Tethys that reduces the cost of damage spells. And you have the Tethys that gains Sweep and applies spell weakness to the attacked unit. Thoughts?
We mentioned this during the first episode of this,
Mm-hmm.
but Sweep is a very good 1-point dip if you are playing Frostbite.
Yeah,
It's cool to apply Frostbite to everything.
for sure.
At that point, honestly, like Sweep is more important card text on Tethys' third form than spell weaknesses, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think that you can make the spell weakness work. I've seen a few clips of people stacking spell weakness on bosses up to like 30, 36, and then just casting like one spell and sending that boss straight to hell, even Seraph. But I think it's kind of
I believe it.
inconsistent.
I definitely believe it. Like I haven't gotten it to really work too well at High Ascension, like a big stacking spell weakness deck, but it in principle works the same way as Frostbite does.
Yeah.
You stall as long as you can with tanks while your backlines apply a status, either Frostbite or spell weakness, and then they do it.
The big problem with the spell weakness one, in my opinion, is that you can apply all the spell weakness you want. If you then whiff your next 2 draws, Seraph's still going to walk up and kill the shit out of your pyre. I think that if you're planning on killing a boss with spell weakness, you pretty much got to permafrost a finishing spell just to remove that inconsistency.
Another thing too that's kind of an issue is that a lot of the big damage spells hit the front unit.
Yeah.
Right? So it can be difficult to hit Seraph or whatever boss you're fighting with that big damage spell once you stack up the spell weakness, if you did not also, before applying the spell weakness, kill all the units in front of the boss.
And I think that this point plays into my new philosophy. I pretty much just developed this philosophy today after playing a few, basically just like 2 or 3 runs today that I was like, oh wow, I think I understand. I think on your bottom floor, and this is where I think Tethys shines, you want your bottom floor to be your floor where you wipe out whatever's on the back line, be that through like, oh, I cast a spell here, or oh, I have Revenge Shark here, which we'll get into, or I have a Sweeper here that just wipes out backline or spikes or whatever. Then you want your middle floor to be like your heavy killer, so whatever you have to kill heavies, whatever your big hit is, so it could be, just like a big multi-strike unit that does like 100 damage to a single unit. And then you want your top floor to be your boss killer. And I think that Tethys fits into either the bottom floor or top floor mentality there, where you put Tethys down bottom floor, sweep away the backline, or you put Tethys top floor with Frostbite and freeze the boss.
I agree with this philosophy in general.
Yeah, I think obviously that's not like a be all end all, but that's a general philosophy, a general outline of how you want to be killing the enemies off. All of my really successful runs that got out of control involved some form of that, where it's like kill the weak things early and then scale up to the top floor on the big boys.
I think the outlier here with the two Tethyses is Conduit.
Yeah, I
Conduit
agree.
just doesn't seem to do too much.
Conduit's weird.
Stat wise is the middle of the road guy, sorta, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
some HP, some more damage than Sweep Tethys does, but it's just the ability isn't that useful, especially when you can already reduce the cost of your important spells via
Yeah.
shop.
I feel like Conduit works if you have. I think that the best case for Conduit is if you have the Incant Totem that draws you cards, because then you can play like a ton of spells in a single turn. But I feel like in general, you need to go quality over quantity. You need one spell that kills everything with a spell weakness on it versus drawing a ton of small spells. But then again, I don't know. I will say I don't feel like I'm the most qualified to talk about Tethys. Penumbra, I think I can talk to death about Penumbra's aspects, and
Mm-hmm.
probably Rector as well, but I don't really understand Tethys. I think I'm starting to grasp, but I'm struggling to grasp what you're supposed to do with Tethys right now.
I think the issue is that in the incant deck that Tethys' Conduit is supposed to be played in, I think that Frostbite Tethys just does a better job, because it can. The idea is that, like, when you do those decks where you play a million spells to incant your frontline shark to have infinite armor, Tethys in the back is just great because it's applying 40 Frostbite every turn to whatever
Right.
boss you're fighting.
However,
Um,
of course, Tethys in the back with Frostbite is like supreme glass, 3
oh yeah,
HP.
yes,
Oh
yes.
god.
No doubt about that either. But Conduit Tethys in the back or anywhere, I guess, doesn't matter too much. But like, it if you want to play a lot of incant spells, or not incant spells, but if you want to play a lot of cards to trigger incant, uh, this is the best way to do it. But then you need those spells you're playing to actually replace the role of Frostbite Tethys, which is hard to do.
And probably the biggest thing to note as well is it is specifically damage spells, so utility spells like card draw, like Gifts for a Guard, or even like healing spells from Awoken don't get their cost reduced.
That's very important as well.
I almost want to.
I will say that real quick that do the Stygian have like the best access to card draw in the game?
I think so, yeah.
I know they have the draw discard card that costs 0. They have the discard your hand, draw 5 for 2 that consumes itself. They have probably the best straight up just card draw effects out of any other clan. So that's like, I think, kind of what you're supposed to do with this build as well.
Yeah.
Play your whole hand out for free, play that card to then draw a whole new hand for free, but it's tough still.
It's interesting. This is the first time, and probably the only time I'll say this. I think we almost want to revisit Tethys after going through all the cards, because Tethys really does kind of rely on your cards. Spell weakness, damage spells cost less, and even to a lesser extent, the frostbite on attack really kind of relies on your deck, right? Because how many damage spells really benefit from that cost reduction? How strong is spell weakness? You kind of got to look at the other cards, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. I'm down to revisit once we go through.
Yeah, why don't we go through the cards and then we can come back and see how we feel about Tethys afterwards. And if nothing's changed, we'll just go, fuck Tethys. But
Okay.
Let's begin. On to Stygian commons, shall we?
Yes.
So we'll start off. Stygian, you'll notice if you're taking a look at it, they're all spells. And now I think everyone's all spells except for Awoken and Melting. Not Awoken, sorry, Hellhorned and Melting, because Hellhorned has imps and Melting has drafts and Tomb units. But the key here...
If you kind of think about it, the what's it called? Shade Splitter on Umbra is a unit when you think about it.
Kinda. Yeah, you're not wrong. But it's all spells, but it's all damage spells with like a little bit of utility mixed in. All but one of these spells is based around doing damage, whereas, there's a mixed bag in Awoken. Some of them do damage, some of them restore health, some of them buff your units with effects, healing, and like Hellhorn is like defensive and apply Rage 6, imps, but it's like Stygian Guard is just all common damage. If you take a common card from Stygian, you're getting a damage card, almost certainly. And we can start off with our starter card here. 1 energy spell, deals 6 damage to the front enemy unit. Frozen Lance.
F tier.
Yeah, I mean...
On my starter card list, Frozen Lance, bottom of the barrel.
I think Oh man, it's like Hellhorned and Awoken are fighting at like A and B tier. This card is fighting with Shade Splitter, and I think Frozen Lance is worse.
I think Frozen, like Shade Splitter gives you a lot of utility with it. It's like, you can use it like an imp and tank a hit for your front line if you want, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
Like it does one thing and it does it poorly all the time. It's 6 damage, but it's the front enemy. The front enemy is very often going to be a beefy man. And it's just not
45
going to kill
health
him.
minimum.
Yeah, it's just not going to kill him. It's not going to put a noticeable dent in at all. So it's just, yeah.
Yeah. Frozen Lance is good on like the best case for Frozen Lance is you are against the clergy on the first floor and it spawns all clergymen because this wipes them out pretty easily. But like really all I can say for Frozen Lance is it lets you get away with occasionally not setting a unit on the top floor ahead of time and you can still catch a collector up there. But I think that this card is not very good. However, it does trigger incant without having to target anything. It does become free if you give it a +20 plus consume. This card's not terrible.
Also true.
Like give this +20 plus a consume on cast, get like 1 spell weakness on an enemy, and it'll one-shot most of the early game heavies. But like that's a lot of work. It's not great. It's not god-awful, but it is like I'll remove this at about the same rate I'll remove Torch, or maybe even a little faster. Up next, or up first, I suppose, 0 energy, spell, apply spell weakness 1 to an enemy unit, energy siphon. I don't think this card's very good.
I agree. There's a lot of units that much more efficiently apply spell weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, this can apply spell weakness to anything, which is neat, but how often do you need to put spell weakness on a backline or something? It's just,
yeah.
The use case for it is limited. If you're like some sort of incant spell weakness like combo deck where you're trying to play a lot of spells, like we said before, to give like your shark a ton of armor, and you're also stacking incant on a boss to one-shot them, maybe that's where it belongs. Like we both said before that we kind of don't have enough experience with that archetype to see how well it does.
Every time I've taken this, I've felt like it was a dead draw, even when my plan was apply spell weakness. Tethys and Icy Silliphite just do the job 10 times better. Yeah, I just think it's a dead draw. Even in its best case, where it has double stacks, I think double stack applies to this card, as well as holdover. At best, this will be worth, if you drew it first turn and you're against Seraph, you could get this to give you 16 spell weakness onto a single target, aka Seraph.
Man, when you put it that way, it's a little less impressive.
Yeah, and so in your most common use case, this is going to double 1 spell. Maybe you get 2 doubles if you have multiple of this card. It's not very good. But I think it's outclassed by all the other spell weakness. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's about it.
Up next, 0 cost spell, draw 1 card, discard 1 card, offering token.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, so on its own at face value, look at this card in a vacuum, this sucks, right?
Yeah.
Compare this to, of course,
we talk about card advantage and the concept of card advantage for hours and hours if we wanted to, but the idea is that a card taking up a spot in your draw is like -1 card value.
Yes.
This card then draws a card, which brings it to 0 card value, then discards a card going back to -1.
Yes.
Whatever inherent value you put on that filtering effect of being able to choose the card that you discard and stuff varies usually, right? In this game specifically, it varies a lot because there are cards that want to be discarded.
Yeah, so the reason that offering token is great is because of the cards that say offering on them. You can see them here, Crypt Builder as well as Titan's Tooth. Offering token discards those. When they're discarded, they are played instead for free. And on top of that, I think offering token is an auto include in this game because your deck starts with so much garbage.
That is true as well. Yeah, you start with a lot of junk.
Yeah, especially
get
early.
rid of it as soon as you can.
Especially early though, this is an auto take for me. The only reason I wouldn't take this is because I'm offered something better. This card's really good. But it's interesting. This is one of the few cards where in a vacuum this looks terrible, but then in the context of the Stygian's card set, like this is pretty sweet.
I think it's an intentional design choice of the game itself, but there's so little card draw.
Yeah, for sure
there's so little ways to churn through your deck efficiently and quickly that effect, even without like good offering triggers, this is already almost worth taking.
Yeah.
I would maybe not take it if I had literally 0 offering cards in my deck, but it's close.
I would
And
still
if I
take
have
it.
like 1 or 2 good ones, then it's like, yeah, I want this pretty badly.
Now, the big thing to point out though is that if you only have like one offering token, one offering token, 2 crypt builders in a 20 card deck, which is roughly what you'll start with, you're probably never hitting crypt builder with offering token unless you do some manipulation, right? Offering token is a good a good case for holdover for sure, as well as it's not bad for permafrost.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good card though.
I would almost argue that if you're like really banking on offering for whatever reason, I would argue that permafrost is better when you like, kind of think of it in the philosophy of like permafrost is removing a dead card from your deck until it's useful, right? It's like a card. It's like a card removal basically from your deck.
Yeah.
While then also having benefit, that's a good use.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's a good card to have. Like I think that you can have too many offering tokens, but for the most part, like take a few of these, especially if you have an offering card in the deck.
How many do you think is too many?
4.
4. So your hard limit is 3.
Yeah, I think that past 3, I'm just like, I'm gonna start just missing. Unless I have a ton of cards with offering and I have like 7 card draw per turn. But how often does that happen? Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm good.
Alright. Up next, 1 energy spell. Deal 3 damage, apply Frostbite 8, Flash Freeze.
It embarrasses Frozen Lands to an extreme degree.
Yeah. Targeted 3 damage.
It's better at killing tanks. And then also you can hit backline with it.
You can use it to pick off backline, you can use it to melt down tanks. I will say Flash Freeze, very, very good contender for a double stack. Frostbite 16 is huge.
Yeah, for a 1 cost spell, that's pretty crazy.
It's interesting to me though, because I have had runs where I've built around Frostbite and yet had Flash Freeze not be good because all of my Frostbite is applied by units. And then, you know, it's like, oh, my units in the boss phase are gonna apply like 700 Frostbite, and then I'm gonna use Flash Freeze to apply 8 more? Nah. But I've also had runs where it was like just Flash Freeze and Hoarfrost Effigy, which is, you know, we'll come to it later. And that run was like, oh wow, that's really good. Flash Freeze, eat your heart out. Or I guess units eat your heart out. It's a good card, though.
Also, when you're fighting the major bosses, you can, you know, if you have this and you have no good targets for it, just put some Frostbite on the boss while they're running around. It's seldom a dead card.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's interesting, another interesting note as we're perusing the common spells here, this is the only common spell from Stygian that you get to target.
Yeah, hey. That is true. Well, I guess if you really think about it, offering token, you get to target the card you discard.
Yeah, alright.
And also, wait, Energy Siphon targets too.
Yeah, but okay, it's the only damage card that you get to target.
Okay, yes, I agree.
Put it like that. Up next, 1 energy spell. Deal 25 damage to the front enemy unit. Discard a card at random. Titan's Gratitude.
How amazing would this card be if it was you got to choose the card to discard?
Oh my god, this card would be insane. Like, this would be an auto take almost always if you get to choose. It would be
probably better than offering token.
Oh, for sure. Unfortunately, you don't get to choose, and as a result, I rarely pick this thing.
It's not bad, though.
Yeah.
How many offering cards do you need to make Titan's Gratitude worth taking?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever been in a position where I've had enough offering tokens to take Titan's Gratitude. But, like, I think it's not so much offering tokens or offering cards. I take Titan's Gratitude when I have, like, this is a card, the only times I ever take this is I finish the first combat and I open up my deck and my starting deck is like, I have 2 offering tokens and I was given, like, let's say, I don't know, how about Draft from Melting as my common, and then like some non-damaging uncommon from Stygian as my other random card, and I have like almost no damage, and they offer me like Titan's Gratitude and 2 other cards. I'll probably take Titan's Gratitude then. I think it's
not a bad rate. Costs 25 damage to the front enemy.
And you just play it at the end of your turn to make sure you don't discard something.
Early game that puts a pretty big chunk into the tanks.
Yeah, it does.
It's not bad, but
it's an early game card for sure. It doesn't really scale up very well. It gets outclassed by a lot of other cards. But for the most part, it's like I take this, and this is one of those cards that I take, and I go, oh, as I'm taking it. But I recognize I need to take it to not die to heavies.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay though. I don't really think the discard on it's very good.
Yeah, it's tough to set it up so that way you discard an offering card that you want.
Yeah.
This is generally just like this is the last card I'm playing this turn sort of thing.
Yeah,
I don't care what card gets discarded at that point.
Interesting thing to note too is like this is a card that gets really, really scary if you have 2 of it in your hand and you need both of them to be played.
Yeah. What's the card from Hearthstone that's sort of like that, like the Warlock card?
Oh god.
Soulfire maybe?
Oh yeah, Soulfire, except I think they nerfed the shit out of that card and took it out of the game.
Oh, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Well, that was the sort of conundrum you'd have with that card too, where it's like you have multiple copies and you need both of them to work.
Yeah. Soulfire. I used to play Warlock. I remember those days.
Warlock is fun.
Up next, unless you have anything else you'd wish to say about Titan's Gratitude.
Helical Crystal. It costs 2 energy and it deals 25 damage to the front enemy unit twice. I'm taking over this video.
Ah shit, you want to drive?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm already scared.
Alright, I mean if you want to drive you can. I never even thought to offer to let you drive.
Oh, it's Helical Crystallis. I already screwed up too.
Dude, this card is hell to pronounce. Because, you know, first read of this, I'm like, oh, this is Helix Crystal. And then I read it again, I go, oh god.
They could have just called it Helix Crystal. They didn't have to be fancy with it.
Yeah, but like, it's got that flair.
Mm-hmm.
I respect it. How do you feel about this card?
It's like Titan's Gratitude, pretty good early. I think this is maybe supposed to be your finisher, or like one of your finisher choices for that spell weakness deck.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But I've had games where like I couldn't get spell weakness to work very well. This is why I'm so apprehensive about spell weakness in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I've had games where I've had like 2 of these at 1 cost, both with holdover. Every turn I'm just killing every unit. Everything's going great. Then the boss shows up and I'm like, oh, how do I kill you? I didn't put much spell weakness on you.
Yeah. I will say, I think that Helical Crystallis is the best common starter you can get from Stygian Guard. I think this card's a really, really good card in the first 2 combats. Because it just kills... It kills every heavy that you can face on the first floor comfortably on any Covenant level. And it also, if it doesn't kill the heavy, it'll just kill 2 backline enemies instead. Like, it'll kill the front 2 for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really good card. I agree with you. Make sure or like lower the energy to 1, and it also does double dip from giving it plus 10 attack, right?
Yeah. Yes. That's one of the cool things that Stygian has going for is that like they carry spell damage increase as well, usually on their cards.
Yeah, and almost all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Helical Crystallis is a great card for it.
It definitely does fall off late game though.
Oh yeah, for sure. You're gonna need spell weakness.
Like I said, it can't be. Do not make this your game plan to win.
Yeah, I mean, if it is your game plan to win, just make sure that you do like, I don't know, 30 spell weakness to the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if you just even throw 1 spell weakness onto a regular enemy, this will kill most anything in the later game too. Mm-hmm. Not really at 1. It'll kill anything in the mid game, and then in the late game, maybe like 2 to 3. But you know, sweep spell weakness Tethys, maybe with Helical Crystallis, maybe that's the secret play. Seems good. I like this card a lot. I'll take it if I don't have good damage spells, but mostly
I will as well.
I feel like for the most part with common cards, I feel like we're more evaluating how they are as a card that you get forced onto you by the low covenant, and then as rare and uncommon cards, we're more evaluating when you take this, right? That's how I look at it. I don't feel like I often take willingly many of these Stygian common cards outside of like offering token.
I definitely beyond like I don't know, like a lot of these start to look a lot worse like floor 4 and beyond.
Yeah, for sure.
Like once they stop killing things in 1 hit, then they become a lot worse.
And because they fall off, I feel like you got to be real choosy about when you take them.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, unless you would like to do this one as well.
No, I give up.
You give up. Understandable. 3 energy spell, deals 60 damage to the front enemy unit and push it to the back. It does have the keyword offering as well. If discarded before the end of your turn, it is played instead. This is Crypt Builder. I think this is...
Maybe my job can be I read the flavor text.
Okay.
That would take way too long.
That would actually like double the length of this video. Oh shit. This is, I'm pretty sure, the first, like, this is a weird thing to say, but I think this is the first Stygian card that I ever picked.
Just ever,
Yeah, just ever. Like, on my first ever run of Stygian, in my first card pack, I went, ooh, this card looks good, and then I played it for 3 energy and went, ooh, ooh.
I think I got Helical Chrysalis.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe. But Crypt Builder, we'll talk about Titan's Tooth as well afterwards. The Crypt Builder, more so than Titan's Tooth, feels like you really need to discard it because paying 3 for it is not that great.
I don't know. It's actually not that bad to pay 3 for it. I
It's
feel
still
like.
not bad. Yeah,
In the early
knocking,
game.
knocking the tank back is cool too, and also in the early game it kills the tank.
Yeah, evaluating this as a card that you start with, you can pay 3 energy for this to just kill every single frontline enemy unit. And then in the mid to late game, you definitely want to be discarding this. This is also probably one of the worst spells to give a store upgrade to.
Yeah, damage is not great. Well, this and Titan's Tooth, both of them, you don't want to give the cost reduction to because ideally you want to be discarding them. It feels bad to discard a card that only costs 1 anyway.
Yeah. Crypt Builder's interesting. I think it's another, like, I would never take this unless I had Offering Token. It's a weird position to be in if you have neither Offering Token nor Crypt Builder and you're offered one or the other. It's like, well, do I take this and hope to get an Offering card later on? Or do I take this and hope to get a way to discard?
What do you personally want first? Do you want Offering Token first? Or
100%. Offering Token first.
I also want Offering Token first. But like you said before as well, I think if you don't have much damage, it's worth taking even without Offering Token. With Offering Token, pretty good still, but not necessarily an auto include either.
Right. Yeah. It
Depends on what you're trying to do.
It depends on what you're trying to do. The big thing to say about it is only to the front enemy unit. This is a good finisher, right? You apply a little spell weakness to a frontliner and this will just kill him. But it is expensive unless you have Offering Token. But in desperate times, you can pay 3 energy to play this. I really think that this card I would evaluate exactly the same, regardless of if it said push it to the back or not. I think I could count on one hand the number of times that Crypt Builder has pushed an enemy to the back and I've gone, oh, thank God. Probably about 7.
A little bit of number crunching here, right?
Okay.
So, if I remember correctly, Covenant 25 Seraph has like a little under 4,000 health, right?
4,000 exactly.
4,000 exact, okay. So, for this, just on its own, to kill with spell weakness on a full health Seraph, you need them to have 67 stacks of spell weakness.
Wow.
Which is hard to do.
Yeah, so Crypt Builder is not your finisher.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic that plan is, but
it is not.
You could maybe do it.
I think that spell weakness does work, but you need a different finisher than one of these common cards for sure. Yes. I think that there are some ways to make spell weakness as a killer, like a killer pick, but Crypt Builder ain't it. Crypt Builder's like, you put 1 or 2 stacks of spell weakness on this and you kill an enemy frontliner with it, and that's like, hey, we did it. Mm-hmm. Anything else you wish to say?
It's got cool art. I like the hammer.
Yeah. I think the Stygian art is my favorite in this game. It's all pretty sweet.
I don't understand like thematically what's up with the hammer.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's why I looked at the flavor text before and I thought of it. I'm like, what is going on here? Why do they got this big old hammer?
Do you think that is Mjolnir?
No.
No?
Mjolnir, like this is like biblical hell versus heaven sort of stuff.
Yeah, but
Mjolnir it's Norse.
Yeah, but it's like it could be maybe this is Norse mythology too, and they like
these
Thor
guys
dropped
they don't have like a single lightning spell. Maybe Titan's Gratitude is lightning, but it looks more like a weird like coil of like a beam.
That's arcane energy, 100%.
Yeah,
I've played enough WoW. That looks like a mana worm. Or just like a big question mark ping from League of Legends.
Could be that, yeah. Jungle's been missing.
Yeah, jungle missing, except it's backwards. Up next, 3 energy spell, deal 20 damage to a random enemy unit 3 times. Ice Tornado.
I think this was one of your candidates for this worst card in the game.
I don't know, is it that bad?
Oh no, you said Ice Storm was your worst card. Never mind. Sorry,
I've definitely come around on Ice Storm since I said that. But, you know. Ice Tornado's okay.
Yeah, like it's sort of it's a confused card, I guess.
Yeah.
You say that a lot, but like Does this kill backline? Does it kill tanks? What does it do? Because it doesn't do either reliably. Right? It does,
One or the
kind of
other.
do both. Yeah, one or the other. So it's good. It's good on floor 1 when it's like, this will kill something. Who cares?
Yeah, it'll kill like half of this. Sometimes this does just kill everything. I will say, I think that this card gets significantly worse on every one of the major bosses, because watching that random thing hit a major boss 3 times and leave the Hefty alive at 20 HP makes me scream.
Yeah, that's always fun.
However, this card does carry plus 10 damage very well. Triples its damage.
Yeah, that is true. There's better cards though that we'll come to talk about later, I'm sure. But like, it carries damage buffs fairly well. It's just very expensive.
Yeah, you want to throw like probably plus 10 damage minus 1 energy cost on this, and then you have a 2 damage deal 30 split 3 times. It can be a 90 damage nuke. It can kill 3 backliners for you. But it's variance.
What's the Umbra card that just does better than that? It's like, what is it?
Blazing Bolts. Blazing Bolts.
Blazing Bolts. Yeah.
Way better than this card.
Yeah.
But like Blazing Bolts is maybe the best
That's
card.
rare, and this is a common, I guess, and from a different faction.
Yeah, Blazing Bolts is nuts. Blazing Bolts has that ramp up time on it too. We'll get into Blazing Bolts when we get to it though. I'm really excited to review Umbra. I love Umbra.
Yeah, they're cool.
Up next, 3 energy, spell, with the offering keyword, deal 5 damage to enemy units and apply Frostbite 10. Titan's Tooth. It's okay.
I like Titan's Tooth.
It's okay.
I think it's more than okay.
I mean,
I'd say good.
It kills all backline for you throughout the game, as well as applying that Frostbite 10 so that they're really dead, and it also applies 10 Frostbite to the front line.
This is like the flexibility I do like.
Yeah.
Like, just wiping out backlines is cool, and then at the same time it puts some damage on the front line, and then playing it sometimes coincidentally when the bosses hang out, the major bosses are hanging out there on the same floor. It's like, oh wow, putting 10 Frostbite in the boss is pretty nice. In the ideal situation, it's very good, and unlike a lot of the magical Christmas land scenarios we come up with, like that one's not that hard to have happen.
Nah, yeah. It's fine. Paying 3 energy for this card feels, I think, a little worse than paying 3 energy for Crypt Builder, but...
I agree with that. I agree with that completely. Because Crypt Builder will kill the tank, and then the backline will die to the units you have on that floor. Whereas Titan's Tooth, it depends. I guess it depends on if you're trying to be more aggressive or more defensive, right? Because Titan's Tooth makes more sense when you're being defensive, because it'll kill the backlines before they get a chance to attack. Whereas Crypt Builder, you take the hits from the backline, but then you kill everyone. It depends on what you want.
The only other thing I would say about Titan's Tooth is this is one of the few cards. This Frostbite and Spell Weakness are already mutually exclusive, and this card really drives that home, because if you have Spell Weakness on anything and you play this, it wipes the Spell Weakness out for very little effect.
Yes, that is a bad part about it.
But you're probably committing to one or the other, Frostbite or Spell Weakness. You probably don't.
They do not mesh well at all.
They don't mix. It's good though, right? I don't necessarily hate it. It's good AoE Frostbite application. Good for helping you get your Frostbite started. Plus, if you are able to apply this card helps Hoarfrost Effigy a lot, which is like the capstone Frostbite card if you're doing Frostbite through spells. Anything else you wish to add?
I can't even tell what the picture is on this.
No, I was thinking the same thing. What is this?
Is it a Titan's Tooth?
According to the flavor text, this is a spear.
It's a spear made with a tooth. Okay.
And it's like the same spear as Frozen Lance, kinda.
Okay, I can see it.
Got the same little gem thing going on. Overall feelings towards the Stygian guards, common cards?
They're okay.
Yeah.
No extreme clunkers other than like energy siphons sometimes, depending on what you're doing. They all more or less do what the card has written on it.
Yeah, true. I think that this is probably the least variant set. Like, all of these cards are pretty good, but none of them are like exceptional, build around this, win the game sort of cards.
Yeah, generally none of these are like a good game plan.
Right.
For you,
but,
like winning the game with them.
But they will get you to the point where you'll live with these long enough to get to the point where you get to have a good game plan with these cards. I like them. Shall we move on to uncommons?
Let's
go.
Pikachu.
Ah, yes, Pikachu. That's one of those Pokemon.
No, let's go Pikachu. You never played that on the N64?
No.
It's terrible. It's the worst freaking game of all time.
Is it?
It was the game that had the like weird microphone that you would yell command at
Oh.
Pikachu, and he would never
Oh.
listen. He would never listen ever. Piece of garbage.
Scream. Top of your lungs.
Yeah, that's not Let's Go Pikachu. Never mind. Let's Go Pikachu is the Pokemon Go like Pokemon Go Switch crossover game.
Oh. You see, I don't know anything about Pokemon, so you can tell me whatever you want and I'll believe you.
Oh, I gotta look this up now. What's the N64 Pikachu yelling game? Hold on. You can continue. I'll be busy for a second.
All right, I'll start us off here while you look that up. 0 energy spell, consume, apply frostbite 6 to all enemy units is crystalline seeds. I think this card's weird.
I found it. It's Hey You Pikachu.
Hey you Pikachu, a similar 2-word phrase to let's go. Hey you. What if instead of saying let's go, we started saying hey you, but like aggressively?
Like really aggressively?
Yeah, like hey you.
Well, that's it, huh?
That's it. That's my entire. That's the entire line.
I don't like this.
How do you feel about crystalline seeds?
It's not the worst.
It's okay. This isn't a card that I'm ever mad about, but it's not a card I'm ever happy about either.
Yeah, it costs 0. It will kill the backline after they attack you. For 0 cost is not bad.
Yeah.
But like, it's not that impactful.
It's very milquetoast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I really have nothing to say about it. It's alright. I would probably never take this on my own, but if I'm forced to take it, sure. Why not? Anything you wish to add before we move on?
No.
Alright. Up next, 0 energy spell, Permafrost, apply frozen to a card in your hand, preserve. I love this card.
I haven't joined the cult of Preserve yet, but it is a pretty cool card, admittedly. Like it's it's a shop upgrade that's on a card that you give to other cards in the game.
Mm-hmm. So Permafrost, by the way, there's a little confusion. I have had people confused about this, so I'll explain it. Permafrost and Frozen are 2 different keywords. Frozen is the effect where a card is held in your hand at the end of turn. Permafrost is the effect that always gives a card frozen when it is drawn. So Preserve always has Frozen on it when it's drawn, and then you play it, it loses Frozen, you draw it again, and it reapplies Frozen to itself. And this just applies a single use of Frozen to a card, not Permafrost.
Yes.
I will tell you that Preserve is really good for a few reasons. A is that when you take this card, even in the worst case where you have nothing you want to permafrost or like nothing you want to hold on to, it just sits in your hand and does nothing. This card is not going to hurt you in any way. And in the other cases where it's like, oh, I'm playing spell weakness and I need to make sure I finish the enemy off at the right timing, you permafrost one of your big damage spells and you preserve one of your big damage spells and you let it rip at the right timing. However, what I do have to say is that Preserve is worse if you're playing a lot of discard.
Yeah.
Discarding frozen cards feels bad.
I agree.
Would you
the
like
longest time I mixed up the art of Preserve and the next card, Unnamed Tome.
Ah.
And I thought that this card consumed itself as well.
Ah.
You played it, and I was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that would be weird.
But you know, I have since then figured out that they're not the same card.
They are not. One of them is a book.
One of them is a book. One of them is a triangle.
Yeah.
But I don't. It's it's pretty low impact, and it's obviously better if you have Incant.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you many times have it in decks where you have Incant, and then it's just like, oh, I will permafrost my Blight, so that way I A, stop drawing the Blight, and B, get a spell trigger.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When you freeze a card that you're never going to play, you've more or less removed it from your deck because you're going to keep it in your hand forever.
The only time that you don't is if like freezing a Blight card causes it to never you causes you to overdraw, right? Then it's bad. But for the most part, even in the worst case on a long like Seraph fight, you can just freeze both of your Blights and they're just taken out of the rotation for the rest of the combat. You'll never draw them again. I like Preserve a lot.
We should also mention that there's a couple of Stygian specific relics that benefit from.
True.
There's one that freezes your cards and one that makes frozen cards cost 0.
Yep.
There's some cool things you can do with this as well with those. Well, specifically with the reduced cost card.
Yeah. I take Preserve a lot of the time and I'm always happy to see it. Would you like to add anything else?
No.
All right. Up next is a 0 energy. Permafrost and Consume. Apply silence to enemy units. This is Unnamed Tome. Is this the only clan tome that isn't rare? It is.
Is there another tome, by any chance? Maybe a secret other tome somewhere? No.
There is not. I just looked.
Oh wow, I think you're right.
And I'm very glad that this isn't rare because this card kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Silence. If you don't know about silence, silence disables all triggered effects. This does not.
Purple ones.
Huh? Yeah, the purple ones. Yeah,
The purple ones.
this disables all purple ones. Slay, Revenge, Rejuvenate. I don't think enemies have Rejuvenate, but you get the idea.
Does silence only last for a floor, or does it last for their whole way up the train?
For their entire lifetime. So essentially, you get to use this to silence one floor for their entire time on the train. This card has unbelievable variance. Like, this might be one of the most high variance cards in this game.
There are some bosses this ruins.
Yeah.
The floor 7 armor boy comes to mind for me first. Because he just gets unbelievably bopped by
Yeah,
this.
he goes from like a 40 at the end of the combat, instead of being like a 42 set 1320, he's like a 6 1320. This card ruins him because it'll disable his resolve +1 attack. Party Boy also kind of gets fucked up by this. The boy who resolves for +5 attack.
Is Armor Boy Resolve or Revenge? I thought he was Revenge.
Armor Boy is Revenge. Did I say resolve?
Yeah.
That's my bad.
Okay, but like the whole thing is that like there are some things that this is amazing against. There are some bosses it does nothing against.
A majority of bosses this does nothing, and in some cases this does a lot. I would say Unnamed Tome is probably worth considering picking up always if you're going against Seraph the Chaste, because this does cancel out the 1 round of Ember Drain from the Pyre Wings, which is a really nice thing to be able to do. But for the most part, like, you take this card just because it's 0 cost and removes itself from the draw cycle, but it is extremely, extremely variant. Sometimes this does nothing for you, and other times this wins you the game. So it's worth picking up at least one of, I would say.
I don't know if I would pick it up early. I think I like picking this up if I know that the next boss I'm fighting, like if I find it on the floor, that it's like, oh, I'm fighting Armor Boy, I'm fighting Party Boy, I'm fighting one of the people who I know has a decent triggered ability as a boss. But
Is
like,
that all of them?
That might be all of
Let
them.
me pull up my spreadsheet. I think that's all of them.
I know Party Boy has the +5 damage resolve. I know that Rockhawk has the revenge damage trigger. Other than that, I don't know if any of them have.
Give me a second, I'm looking. Oh, you can use this on Daedalus's bombs to make them not explode. And that's basically it. Oh, you can use this on Chains to not take weight of contritions, and you can use this on Thoughtbinder so that he doesn't slay to add self-mutilation to your deck, and that's it.
Okay. Those ones I'd say are much less important.
Oh yeah, very much less. But
and honestly, Party Boy isn't that important either. Really,
no,
it's just
that one guy.
Because that just hard countering him like that is so nice.
And I think this is the only card in the game that has silence.
Probably.
I'm like 99 on that one.
Okay.
Anything else you wish to say?
I think I just want to say I'm a little bit less hot on it than you are, I think, just because it's not super useful.
Yeah. I would file this one.
But because it permafrosts and then consumes if you do play it, it's not the worst thing ever.
I would file this one away into, like, if there's nothing better to take than this, take this. Because there's no reason not to take this.
You get, like, some gold, though, if you don't take it.
Yeah, do you really... This card could literally save your run. Is that worth 10 gold to you?
I've had runs that have been saved by having exact change sometimes, so...
Okay. I mean, fair.
It's tough, you know. You gotta make that call. You gotta make that judgment on your own.
Yeah, it's like make the choice based on your run, I guess.
Also, if you've got good incant triggers, it's always, you know,
yeah,
every card that costs 0, every spell that costs 0, always at worst does whatever your incant triggers do.
Yeah, it's true as well. Up next, 0 energy spell, consume, apply spell weakness 2 to all enemy units. Urchin Spines.
It's better than the energy siphon, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything to say about Urchin Spines. Every time I take this card, I'm just like, wow, that's it?
again, it comes to the issue of spell weakness being more easily applied by units than by spells.
Yeah, and this consumes. I think that this relic or this card really struggles because Icy Siliphyte and Spell Weakness Tethys exist. It's only going to be 2 spell weakness for the fight.
So here's a question I have, right? So how much spell weakness does a spell have to apply for it to be a viable strategy for putting on a boss and then killing them, right? Like when you think about it this way, the idea is that you will have a spell weakness card, you will give that spell weakness card holdover, you'll be playing it on the boss every turn, right?
Yeah.
That's the idea. If that's your strategy for killing the boss, if your strategy using spell weakness to kill a boss is to play spells to give spell weakness, how much per cast does spell weakness need to give them?
So, for me, I think of this question in terms of Seraph, and the answer to that question is probably 4 spell weakness. In terms of normal bosses, you can probably normal bosses that aren't there for the entire combat, you can probably get away with throwing like 6 spell weakness on them, depending on where you are in the game. Less on the earlier sides of the game, probably like somewhere in the 3 to 9 range. Basically, will be enough to kill the boss.
I'm talking specifically if your game plan is to kill at the end, kill Seraph with a bunch of spell weakness and 1 big spell hit, right? If your plan is to generate that spell weakness by casting spells on Seraph every turn,
and you're not getting spell weakness from anything other than spells.
Yes.
I think that so you can reasonably assume that a spell is going to do. Let's baseline. How much damage do you think is a reasonable assumption for a spell?
Our finisher spell is probably going to have to do like 80 to 100 damage, right?
Yeah, so 80 to 100 damage to one-shot Seraph. Assuming you're just applying spell weakness through cards, you need to apply
like 40 to 60
yeah 40 around 40. So you need to be applying, because Seraph is an 8-turn fight. You need to be applying about 5 spell weakness a turn. If it's from spells, which is really hard to do. Which is why I don't really think Urchin Spines is great. It's not a great boss killer. This is like you use this to kill off 1 heavy with a little help, I guess.
Yeah.
It's really weird because it applies it to all enemy units, and who fucking cares? Like, this is just going on the front line.
There's AoE spells.
Yeah, but like, what do you need AoE? What do you need AoE spell weakness for? There's like maybe 10 spawns in the game that have more than 1 unit that benefit from taking multiple spell weaknesses. For the most part, the spell weakness is going on like a 3 health unit that dies to everything. Except, oh no, you know what? This card does allow you to use Torch to kill 3 health units in the late game. So
it does also make the what's it called, armor trial easier to take too. Then
yeah, I guess that's true as well. I don't think Urchin Spines is very good.
I don't think it's good either. I am defending it a lot there, but like I still agree it's not that good.
Because it's also single use and there's like 6 rounds of combat. You need to draw this on the right turn. Anything else you wish to add?
No.
Alright. Our first unit of the set. Ooh, buddy.
That took a long time.
It really did. We're like 50 minutes into this video without a unit yet. 1 energy, 1 attack, 15 health, sweep, strike, apply Frostbite 3 to the attacked unit. 2 space, Cold Kalia. Which is alright.
I like her. I've had runs where she's won.
Yeah, she benefits a lot from multi-strike.
Same issue that the Vine person had, where you have to be careful if this is your game plan to win and you have the Seraph that is red and angry.
Sap Seraph.
Yes, if that happens to you, this will not attack.
Yeah, you need to give Cold Kalia plus 10 if she's a major part of your plan, if you're going against the Seraph that saps your units. Otherwise, she will not attack. But she's good, right? Throw her behind Frostbite Shark, which we'll get to. And, you know, you can apply... Cold Kalia really isn't for killing frontliners. Cold Kalia kills backliners for you.
Yeah, it kills backliners while also not being dead against bosses.
Yeah. I think that she's good to throw, like, quick and plus 10 on, and then she'll just kill all the backliners without your units getting hit. And other than that, you know, give her multi-strike maybe.
I've had runs where she's managed to be the tank too.
Yeah.
Where I got Big Stone on her, and then she was just kind of, you know, sitting in the front.
Yeah, you could do that as well.
Not the most reliable because Stygian has some pretty good like on-theme tanks for what Cold Kalia wants to do. Also, is it called Celia?
I don't know. I've
Kalia?
always said Cold Kalia. I don't know how people call it or pronounce it. That's how I've always said it. Kalia, hard C. I One thing I think that she can. I think one of the strongest strategies in this game for killing bottom row enemies is to take Frostbite Shark and give him Endless. And I think you could do the same thing with Colcalia. Give her plus 25 health, give her Endless, and just slap her on the bottom floor, and she'll just kill backline for you as well. But yeah, she's good for that. She also, like, you know, you can use her as your boss killer. Maybe like 2 Cold Kalias with multi-strike could apply, was that 12 Frostbite around? It's decent.
I mean, Tethys does a better job of that, but Colcalia has 15 HP, whereas Frost Tethys has 3.
Yeah.
Which is an issue.
Which is a big problem for Frost Tethys. And Frost Tethys doesn't baseline have sweep. But, you know. I think that Colcalia is good. I've taken her a lot of times and had her do a lot of work. She's actually pulled me out of some losing runs a few times as well. Anything else you wish to add about Colcalia?
Yo, I think she's got Ivy's Sword Whip.
Oh, does she?
I think so. Or maybe it's just a whip. I can't tell.
It might be another spear. Just like a weird
a
spear.
bunch of tiny spears?
Yeah, it could be just a chain of tiny spears.
That could be it. You're right. I think.
You never know, magic. Up next, 1 energy, 5 attack, 2 health, 1 space. End of turn, apply Frozen to a random card in your hand. Cuddle Hex. Another unit whose card text is the same as a relic.
Yeah.
There's a few of these.
Also, I just noticed that this Cuttlefish's tentacles are all iced over because of what his effect is, which is pretty cool.
He keeps freezing his own face instead of cards. He's good.
Yeah, like it's a good effect. It's a great utility. You just throw him on the top row, and even if he dies by the time someone gets up there, he's frozen 3 cards for you, or I guess 2 or 3. Because his well, actually, does his end of turn still trigger if he's dazed?
It does, I believe, because it's not resolve. However, I'm not 100% on that.
Actually. I'm not 100 on that either, actually. But
it just says triggers at the end of turn, and dazed means they skip combat, but not their turn. I don't know. I'll have to keep an eye on that. Actually, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about that interaction.
That's a great question.
Either way, worst case scenario, you put him on the top row. It freezes a couple cards and then dies. Best case scenario, all your cards are frozen. Hooray!
Yeah, and Cuddle Hex also on the top floor, very minor benefit, but he does have 5 attack. He'll snipe a collector if a collector spawns on there and you throw him down their top floor. Very nice. You don't have to waste a unit up there to be sure you get it. And,
now with the relic that, well, I guess with the 2 frozen relics, right? So let's say you have his brother, is it the hand? Is it the hand that's the one that freezes, or does the hand make
the hand
cost get reduced?
The hand is cost reduction, and the icicles are the freeze.
Okay, so if you have icicles, do you take this and then double freeze, or is that too much?
I don't know. I kind of
if you have the other one, if you have the hand, is this an auto include?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an auto include as long as there's not something better. He takes up so little space both in your train and in your deck. 1 card and he removes himself 1 space on the train you can probably spare, and his effect is great. So I would always take him, and I think I would probably still take him even with icicles, unless again he's one of those if there's something better don't take him, same as Preserve, because Frozen is kind of a niche effect, right? You don't necessarily need it to win. If there's a card that is like this hinges my game plan sort of card, then, probably skip Cuddle Hex. But for the most part, I take him every time. How about yourself?
I am in agreement there for the most part. Although, strangely, I don't have this one golden.
Oh, interesting.
I like him, though.
I do like him as well. Anything else you wish to add about our small Cuddle Hex boy?
I like him more than the other Cuttlefish.
Yeah, I haven't played with the other Cuttlefish, so I don't really have a hot take on him. Every time I take him, I just lose the run, the other one. Up next, 1 energy spell. Apply Sap 3, discard a card at random. Drain. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, Sap's a pretty premium effect. There's not a lot of cards that say it. Sap 3 is pretty sweet. It reduces the enemy attack by 6. It's good. Like, this...
So it's a solid effect, because it's 6 for that turn, then 4 the next turn, and then 2 the last turn, and then full damage for the pyre, if on first floor,
Yep. The most important thing to say about Drain, in my opinion, and this goes for Sap in general, is that this is one of the prime ways to keep Tethys from dying from sweep. Tethys gets fucked up by sweep. True. This card will help that a lot.
Would you say it's a good target for permafrosting them? Because I feel like
yeah, I think so.
You can do that for saving from sweep, but also it's a pretty good card just to constantly keep playing.
Yeah, I would probably throw Frost on this. It kind of depends, right? It's not a bad target for Permafrost just because there's nothing else. I guess you want to put double stack on it for Sap 6, really. But I think it's good to throw Permafrost on it. It's kind of expensive to get both of those on a single card, but, you know, it's good. I don't always take it. I think that it's a card that you like. This is a card, another one that's like this is you don't skip the pack if this card is in it, but you don't take it if something is better than it. I feel like we're saying about a lot of cards in Stygian set. Like, a lot of being good at a deck building roguelike is understanding your situation and figuring out what you need as like what tool your deck is missing, right?
Yeah.
And so Drain, it is a card that is always good, but there may be something better in your specific situation than it.
I don't know why, but in my head, I don't associate this as much as I do with other cards with that discard randomly.
Yeah.
And the bonus with offering. Like I don't know why, but I never think of them together. But have you ever like been like, oh man, I got 3 offering cards. I got to take this drain so I have a discard outlet.
Never in my life.
Yeah, I don't know why. I've never thought that either, but like that's a thing that I think I should think more about.
I think the reason that we never feel that way is because there's not that many offering cards. There's exactly 3.
What's the third one? I forget the third one.
The Sap one.
It's coming up. It's coming up.
Yeah. I think it's a rare.
Yeah. No, it's an uncommon.
Okay. Anything else you wish to say about Drain?
No.
All right. Up next, 1 energy spell. Apply a dazed 1 to enemy units and discard your hand. Frenzied Swarm. Whoo, buddy, what a card.
Yeah, it's a pretty good effect.
This is maybe one of the best cards to put holdover on in the entire game.
I don't know why not. Sure.
Being able to choose a room and skip 1 round of combat in that room whenever you want is great. The only bad side of Frenzied Swarm is it does ruin all frozen. This is the anti-synergy. But like Dazed is a premium effect. This card is great. It lets you trigger all offerings as well.
That is true. That is true. Discarding your whole hand is a thing. Just make sure you sequence your cards correctly.
Yeah, for sure. This is not a great card if you're playing on autopilot. This is not a great card to take. I have been in situations where I'm like, I'll be really into whatever conversation I'm having, and I'll just like, I can't take Frenzy Swarm. This will kill me. I will ruin turns with this. But for the most part, as long as you're playing smart, this card's great. What is going on in the art here, though? Can you explain that to me?
Well, obviously, there's some sort of fish people from the Oberdin, those mermaids. They're swimming around in circles.
Okay.
And I think they're trying to trick you with the illusion of treasure and maybe cold Kalias.
Okay.
Like it's like ooh, look at how tempting this is, and then you come into the vortex and they stab you.
It's interesting because I'm pretty sure this card has like the exact same art as another card in the set, doesn't it?
Does it?
Siren Song.
No, Siren Song. I'm pretty sure is like a lot different.
All right, we'll answer that when we get there, I suppose.
That is true.
Anything else you wish to say about Frenzied Swarm?
No.
All right. Up next, 1 energy, 0 attack, 1 health, 1 space. Incant, apply Frostbite 2 to enemy units. This is our first totem.
Yes.
It's probably the worst totem.
Yes.
This totem kind of sucks.
It's not unplayable. If you're going hard on the paint on Frostbite, it's more Frostbite. It's a 1 space. You can sneak it in on your first floor if you want.
Yeah.
But it's maybe the worst Frostbite applier in the whole game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe you could argue Crystalline Seeds, since Crystalline Seeds is like a one-off Frostbite 6, but this is pretty bad.
It costs 0 and doesn't take up space in your train, though.
That's true. The big thing about Glacial Seal, I think this is a card that you can use to pick off backliners on bottom floor, but for the most part, you're not getting a whole lot of incant value out of this, I feel like.
And there's units that do that better, aka Cold Kalia and Titan Sentry.
Yeah, Hot Shark.
Both do that better. Yeah. So the thing is the space. It takes up little space. That's the whole point of it.
Little space, similar to Cuddle Hex. However, unlike Cuddle Hex, I don't auto include this card because it just feels like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like this doesn't do a whole lot for you. Maybe if you like buff its health a bunch, you can force it to tank for you for a little bit. I don't know. Maybe throw a large stone on this bad boy.
Well, I would not do that very often.
I'm just
But I will
spitballing.
say that an important thing with most of the seals, if you're playing them, is that you're putting them on like the same floor as Tethys. Put them in front of Tethys so that they can take a hit before Tethys does.
Yep, depending on which Tethys you have anyway.
Yeah.
But like this one, you would always. I mean, yeah, they're all incant. So when Tethys is getting killed, you probably want Tethys to get another shot at. Like honestly, this should go right behind your tank. Anything else you wish to say about Glacial Seal?
Do you think there's like a weird Bizarro world where you can put Endless on this and then just play it on the floor the boss is on each round and then just play a bunch of spells?
No.
Okay.
I think
that's a thought I had, and I also think it doesn't work. But
the weird Bizarro world answer that you're looking for is you put Endless on this and then you play it on the first floor every round. So you put it on the first floor, you play like 2 spells, kill the backliners.
You put it in like the front, right? You have it. Yeah. You play like an imp almost.
Yeah, and like you play like an imp that kills backline. You basically, if you throw Endless on this, it's similar to having Molting Imp in your deck, but like worse.
I would say much worse still.
Yeah, but similar. Up next, 1 energy, 5 attack, 15 health, 2 space, incant, gain 3 armor. It is Guard of the Unnamed, aka the first of the Hot Sharks.
Well, the first of 2 Hot Sharks.
Yeah, but he's the first one you unlock.
Yeah. Okay.
He's the worst Hot Shark.
I mean, there's decks where he's better.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the other Hot Shark. I think the other Hot Shark.
What about the Hellhorned armor deck?
Yeah, like this guy. I have gotten the nuts with this guy, of course. 1 run, you get incant gain armor 3, you get the incant gain armor 1 magic stone, and you get apply 4 armor whenever you apply armor. And this guy just ends up at like 235 armor. You're applying 12 armor a turn, and that's insane. Or like 12 armor a spell, I mean. But for the most part, this shark, like in an incant deck with the other siren that gains +1/+1 when you incant, it's okay. But like you really, I'm not sure if this is enough reallys, but you like really need double incant to make this guy work. Like that double incant artifact is how you make this guy okay.
I agree.
Anything you would like to add to that?
I agree.
All right.
But think about that battering ram you could have gotten though with that deck.
Yeah, could have battering ram for like 1 million. I think that this shark, if you're gonna have him be your tank, which you can if you don't have a better choice, he really needs +25 HP, or else he's just gonna get murked before his armor starts scaling.
That's true. Definitely needs that first HP boost.
Yeah, he's okay. Up next, unless you have anything else you wish to add in there.
I think that are we in agreement that the other shark is hotter because he doesn't have his shirt on?
Oh yeah, other shark's way hotter. He's got the cool he's even got the other shark has a little tribal tattoo thing going on.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Up next, 1 energy, 0 attack, 1 health, 1 space, incant, apply armor 1 to friendly units. Guardian Stone. Ooh, buddy.
Is this the best totem?
I don't know. I think that's up for debate. I think it is the better totem of the 2 uncommons, and I think
yes. That
it's hard to say. I don't really have great use with offering totem, but I think that the main thing you say about Guardian Stone is this helps protect your glass cannon Tethys, which is really nice.
Yes, if you're playing Frost Tethys and you're planning on going hard on the paint with his frost attacks, this is like a required card.
Yeah, for sure. Like this, you need something. And this is a way to stop Tethys from getting absolutely killed. Similar to the other totem, you could throw health on this and make it tank for you if you really had no better choices. It's a good one.
Not a very good tank though.
No. I think the most important thing to say about Guardian Stone, in my experience, is that if you're taking this and you're planning to put it down on whatever your main floor is with Tethys, you probably need to take space from one of your bosses because you'll run out of space, right? The Stygian main floor setup is typically 1-2-2, where you put Tethys as your 1, and then a 2-space damage dealer like Icy Siliphyte or something similar, or Cold Kalia in the middle, and then a 2-space shark in front. And if you're taking a totem, you probably need to take space for that as well.
We didn't mention before that Tethys was only 1 space, did we?
No, we didn't. Tethys is the only 1-space champion, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like Tethys is 1, Hellhorned, Prince, Sentient, and Rector are 2, and Penumbra is 3, 4, 5, 6.
Or -1.
Yeah, or negative, or 1, 0, -1. What a weird character Penumbra is.
Yeah.
God, I'm looking forward to Umbra. Anything you want to add about a Guardian Stone? This totem's good.
I think is debatably better than Offering Totem, just because. Well, I mean, like I understand that, like in the moment, Offering Totem gives you like more direct impact on that fight. But when you get the ability to just stack armor over and over again throughout the whole fight, it's debatable. It's definitely debatable. But
Yeah,
like,
no, for sure.
They're
I
both
agree.
very good.
I think they're both good. I don't have enough experience with Offering Totem, which is why I want to lean towards it being better right now, just so I can come back in the future and go, I was wrong.
Okay.
In case I think Offering Totem ends up being
I
real
would
bad.
I would have no problem admitting that I'm wrong as well at some point if Offering Totem is better.
Yeah, it's just hard to tell.
I think we can all agree that Frost Totem is the worst.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like on the totem tier list, that totem doesn't even show up.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, 1 energy spell, deal 1 damage to a random enemy unit 5 times. Ice Storm.
The worst spell in the game, according to some people.
Yeah, okay, look. I called this the worst spell in the game before I was... I don't know why I thought it worked this way, but I thought that the +10 went not to the 1, and at the end it was also like just do another +10 for some reason. That was dumb.
I understand why you thought that was the worst card then.
Yeah, you throw
that
2
would
plus...
be the worst card, huh?
That would be so fucking bad. I don't know why I thought it worked that way. You give this 2 +10s, and this is a 1 energy deal 21 split 5 ways, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen. I'll tell you. I was watching a popular Monster Train streamer. I'm sure you can guess who. And yeah, you. Yep.
No,
it was you.
It was not me.
But this Monster Train streamer, he was using Ice Storm with 2 +10s as his big finisher because it does 105 damage.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good card.
If you're going for the spell weakness, this is a good one to do that. Like we said before, we felt like 80 to 100-ish damage needs to be your big finisher spell.
Mm-hmm. Nah, so this does that.
With 2 +10 upgrades, or even just the +20 and consume. If this is your finisher,
Mm-hmm.
you permafrost it, give it +20 and consume. It's there. It's waiting.
It's weird because I think we talked about this before. This card feels like it exists for a deck that doesn't exist, right? Magic power.
Yeah, also true.
I feel like there's supposed to be a deck where you stack up a ton of magic power.
Magic power is supposed to be in the spell weakness deck as like a supporting role.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think it just very often, like at high covenants, never comes through for you.
No.
The taking of magic power tends to ruin you.
Yeah, typically.
It takes up space in your deck and it makes it too hard to fight through the waves leading up to the boss. So I don't know.
This card's pretty good though overall. Like it is bad, and then you give it +10, and it's pretty excellent, is my opinion. And you give it another +10, and it's pretty good.
Yes. I don't think that's very controversial.
Nah. I don't think you want to give this anything else either. Like, there's nothing else that it really takes. I think you just give it 2 +10s.
Well,
Or-
I think I like the +20 and permafrost idea more. If you're with this card, it's supposed to be as the finisher.
Yeah,
I
that
like
works.
that one
as
a
well.
little bit more, unless of course, you have the 3 spell slots artifact. Then you can do whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah, like, live your life.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you wish to say about Ice Storm?
No.
Alright. Up next, 1 energy, 1 attack, 10 health, sweep, strike, apply spell weakness to the attacked unit, 2 capacity, Icy Siliphyte. I think this unit's better than I think she is.
I think so too. We've been talking about it a lot, but I think in the spell weakness deck, this is the card.
Yeah.
This does it.
I think this card, as we've talked about and theory crafted about it, I think you throw this unit down bottom floor, give her like, I don't know, something to tank for her, she kills all the backline for you, and applies spell weakness to finish off any frontline units that walk away.
Again, the problem comes up with all sweep units against the scary red seraph. You need to make sure your attack is not 1 still.
Yep. But for the most part, I think Icy Siliphyte's better. Like, I don't have her golded. I don't have a ton to say about her, but I think she's better than I think she is.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to add anything else?
Are there any rare units that I'm forgetting about that like add spell weakness?
We can just take a little peek. I think no. Nah. Actually, there's... Wow. Oh, there is a better totem. I wanted to wait, but there is a better totem. There's Sap Totem.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Sap Totem. I mixed up the names.
No. There's the totem that takes damage and draws you a card, and then there's the Sap Totem.
I think that in my brain, I think that offering totem is just worse than armor totem, and then I think in my head lodestone and armor totem are close.
Okay, I think sap totem's way better than armor totem. I just forgot it existed.
Well, you forgot it existed, so how good could it really be?
Yeah, I mean, I forget it. It's I've said it. I think there's one rare unit from every clan that I just forget exists. The ranged brute, sap totem,
Vine Mother.
Vine Mother. Yeah, fuck, dude. And I don't even know who I don't know from Umbra.
Shadow Siege. You know.
No, how could I forget Shadow Siege? What's the other one?
Anyway.
Up next, 1 energy, 7 attack, 1 health, 1 capacity, plus 7 magic power on this floor. Mollusk Mage.
I think contender for the cutest card.
I don't know. Have you
Look
seen?
at it.
I don't know.
Have I seen Shadow Siege? Yeah.
Have you seen Consumer of Crowns? Nah, Mollusk Mage, I think that I feel like I'm the least qualified to talk about Stygian because I think there's an archetype in Stygian that I've never understood, which is like spell weakness. I think Mollusk Mage makes sense in the spell weakness deck. You put it like a floor or two above where you apply spell weakness and it buffs up your spells. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that where it really belongs?
I mean, where else in the world does this card belong?
I think it just belongs nowhere. I think even in that deck, it's not that worthwhile. Like I think you can get there without this.
You can probably get there without this, but this is a nice little helper, and this is the big thing. He's very small. 1 space, 1 energy, 1 card in the deck.
Yeah, 1 HP, so he does die to sweep and spikes as well. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. They all do though. Yeah. This clan is like, oh god, please don't take Spike's trials. Please, it hurts.
Definitely the highest vulnerability to like 2 different mechanics.
Yeah.
Out of any clan in the game.
Yeah, I think Hellhorn.
Even 3 then, because Icy and Cold Lady are both weak to sap. So many units are weak to sweep and spikes.
You could argue that Hellhorn also struggles a lot with sap, sweep, and spikes. If you're like playing Slay and you get sapped, like you never get off the ground.
That's true.
Spikes kills like half their units, and so does sweep. It's just those mechanics suck. The good thing is that sap only has 1 place in the game that it ever gets applied. The rest of those a little more variant. Mollusk Mage is cool though. I don't have a ton to say about him because I haven't really taken him and had him do anything for me ever, but I think he should if I set up properly. Anything you would like to add about Mr. Mollusk Mage?
I still think cutest card though.
I don't know.
Define me.
Fucking Scholar Imp.
No.
That dude has a sweet scarf.
Scholar Imp has a cool scarf, not cute.
The scarf though, come on.
No.
All right.
Well, great topic in the comments. What's cuter than Mollusk Mage?
Yeah, good one. Good question.
There you go. Answer below.
If you don't answer,
I will hate you viciously.
Yeah, if you don't answer Scholar Imp, I'm coming for you. Up next, 1 energy, 10 attack, 15 health, 2 capacity, incant, rage 1, nameless siren.
I don't like this card.
No, I think this card sucks.
Why are you incanting for 1 rage? Why are you doing this? What is your end game?
I think this card got lost and is supposed to be in Hellhorned.
Maybe, I don't know. I can see a world where you put multi-strike on it, and then you play 10 cards every turn.
I gotta tell you, I can't.
That's really cool, but that's also really tough.
No, I don't see it.
You don't see a Hellhorn Stygian deck where you play this as your backline DPS, and you give it multi-strike, and you have deranged brute, and you manage to give it 10 rage every turn?
No, because like
give it multi-strike and quick.
The only thing that this unit has over the other rage generator in that clan is that it has like 7 more health, maybe 10 more health. I don't think Nameless Siren's very good. I really don't. Like, the only time I would even consider this is if I was playing with Hellhorn as my secondary. That's it.
Yeah.
Anything
even
else?
Then, I agree. Even then, it's not good.
No, it's real bad.
But you like I said, you can do that thing I just said, and it could work. I think. But there's better options for you still.
Yeah, there's better options. Like, there's a lot of better options.
Yeah, there's a lot of better options.
There's so many better options.
Dozens.
Millions. Anything else you'd like to say about this garbage?
No.
Alright. Up next, 1 energy, 5 attack, 10 health, 2 capacity, incant, gain +1 attack and +1 health. It's Siren of the Sea.
That's mean.
This card is just Train Steward.
It's better than Train Steward. It's better than the other Siren.
It's better than the other Siren, but that's a very low bar.
Yeah.
Like this card and Hot Shark #1 are good if the very first relic you got was incant triggers twice. You can throw multi-strike on this and then maybe it does something, but for the most part, this card sucks. Like, this is just Train Steward.
But like, I've always thought of this more as trying to be some sort of tank than as being like your DPS because of the HP increase on it.
Yeah, but like then what's your DPS then if this is your tank?
Also that's the beauty of it.
I don't think I see it.
I know.
I don't think I see it.
Get enough incant triggers for this to be a worthwhile card to play.
Yeah, you gotta measure out roughly how many incants are you gonna get in a fight, and the answer is, like, say in a 6-round fight in Magical Christmas Land where everything goes exactly right, you probably trigger this card. I don't know. Say you play it first turn and you're able to play 3 spells a turn at least. That's gonna be maybe 18 triggers. This thing's gonna be a 23-28. Is that really what you want to be banking your run on?
That's not bad. It's not good.
It's not good.
I agree.
I'm sorry, Siren of the Sea, because I really want to like you. The archetype you're supposed to be in is good, but like you really need to like incant +2/+2.
Yeah, if it was +2/+2, then the double would be +4/+4, and now we're talking.
Yeah, all of a sudden. Because
it's just too small.
Yeah, she needs a relic to be playable, which makes her not very good. But when you have that relic, hey, she's kind of fun. Or if you're able to just like incant forever, I guess. Up next,
there might be some sort of way to like reliably play 10 cards every turn. I just haven't figured it out yet.
No, there really isn't. They did a lot of things to stop you from ever doing that.
There was that one deck I had. There was the one time I had the thing with Awoken with the card that I put Holdover and remove Consume on it.
Yeah.
Draw for generating vapors.
Yeah.
That way you can sort of do it, but it's not. If your game plan is to set that up and then play Siren of the Sea and play out 6 or 7 cards every turn. It's not good.
Even in that Magical Christmas Land that you just described, think about this. You've done all of that setup. You're playing, let's say a reasonable 8 cards a turn, right? 8 spells per turn. At the end of your combat, in a 6-round, like against Fel, if you had everything go right, you have everything go right. You get it set up turn 1. In your best case scenario, she ends up being a 53-58.
That's beefy.
That's like...
That's not bad, but that's not worth it. I agree.
No, there's so much better you could be doing.
It's just not worth setting up.
It's not worth it. Up next, 1 energy, 0 attack, 35 health, 2 capacity, revenge, apply frostbite 3, 2 enemy units. Is this the best unit in Stygian? Yes. Titan Sentry. Hot Shark #2. Marry me.
Hold on, let me look real quick. Let me just make sure.
It is. Like, the only one I could even see an argument for is like Cold Kalia or Icy Siliphyte.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll agree to this.
He's so good. I love Hot Shark.
Hot Shark is great.
This is probably, in my opinion, after a little bit of testing, probably the best thing to put Endless on in this game.
I don't know about that.
Let me take you on a journey. I've had many runs where this was a play. You throw Endless on this guy, you throw this guy bottom 4, he kills every single backliner. Like, no matter what they spawn on you, no matter what point in the game you're at, he kills every backliner.
Mm-hmm.
He puts down 6 to 9 frostbite every single round, and then he dies, and then you just put him back down there.
Mm-hmm.
He crushes. He's absolutely great.
Yeah, I've seen you play it with that. It works. It's a cool strat. And then also against bosses, you can, if the floor is set up correctly, you can just keep putting them down in front of the boss each time.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is that can you, with this strategy, with the endless shark, do you give him an HP upgrade, or do you just rely on him dying every time and is replaying him the next turn?
No, I do not. I just let him die. Because as long as he gets 1 frostbite trigger off, he kills the backline almost always for you, and then that's all you really need. He does great. I have nothing more to say. He's my favorite card in this set.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say just favorite card in general. Oh my god.
No. My favorite card in general is a number card.
Okay, well, I'm a little less hot on it than you are, but I do agree that it is the premier tank if your plan is to go Frostbite.
Even if, but like the thing that I makes me rave about him so much is even if your plan isn't
as a tank to kill backlines, yeah.
Even if it isn't, right?
Putting Endless on to makes him not. You know, I've struggled to use Endless efficiently.
Me too.
It feels tough. This is a strat I can get behind. I think.
I agree. Anything else you wish to add? Because I've said all I have to say.
I have nothing more to add other than. Are you sure those are tribal tattoos, or is that just like ice on him that's frozen?
I'm pretty sure it's tribal tattoos. I don't know though. He's got a chain skirt on as well. He looks great.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Up next, 3 energy spell. The last offering card applies sap 3 to enemy units. Guardian's Amulet.
It's a lot of sap.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I never take this card, I feel like.
I also don't take it very often, but I don't think it's bad.
That's good. I think this card feels bad to play at 3 energy, but offering this card out is nice. Applying sap is great. A reasonable win condition is just having a deck that applies enough sap to Seraph that Seraph never gets to attack, right?
Is that reasonable though?
Yeah, I mean, if you have the sap totem and you have this card and you have drain, you can apply a lot of sap, as long as it's not Seraph the Chased. You can get yourself like an extra 5 or 10 rounds off of that.
Yeah, I guess. That's pretty cool.
It only takes 5 sap to drop Seraph to 0 attack for a round, which
that's true.
So even in the worst case, this card on its own buys you an extra round against Seraph. Seraph only has 10 attack.
Yeah.
Card's good. I mean, sap is a great mechanic, and there's not a lot of ways to do it.
I think 2 of the 3 main bosses having multi-strike makes this a much better card.
Yeah, all of the main bosses have multi-strike except for Daedalus, and sap really ruins them.
Daedalus is a little bitch, so who cares?
Yeah, Daedalus, he doesn't exist. Good. Anything else you wish to say about Guardian's Amulet?
No.
Closing thoughts on Stygian uncommons?
Some very good units, some not very good units, some very good spells, some not very good spells.
Yep.
Not much middle ground.
No, it's like, I think very high variance. But for the most part, I feel like when you crack open a Stygian banner, you're getting a unit that you like, right?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, have you ever seen this? I don't think I've ever seen a totem or like a mollusk mage or a cuddle hex from a Stygian banner. I think you always get one of the sirens.
I have never tracked that, but
no, I'm wrong. I have seen a totem, actually.
I'll keep an eye out for it, but if you already think you're wrong, then whatever.
I'm wrong. I did see Incant Totem from it recently, but for the most part, when you crack open a Stygian banner, you're going to be pretty happy. I feel like you'll get Hot Shark or one of the sweep units typically. Good faction. Good units.
I wonder if they'll ever add like some more tribal synergies to the game, because I feel like it's interesting that they made both of the sweepers, the sirens, and the sharks are all listed as sirens.
But it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, but it's just something I noticed right now.
There's only, I think, one tag that there's like 2 tags that mean anything, right? There's the demon tag from Hellhorn, and there's the Waxer tag from Melting that mean things.
Tome matters, or Tomb matters too.
Tomb, you're right, Tomb.
There's some that revolve around them as well. Waxer matters. Does Wickless matter at all? Or no, I guess being Wickless means that you're not the other 2.
Yeah.
So it matters in a way, but it matters in that you are not cool.
Yep. Shall we move on to the rares?
Yeah.
Alright. Start off with our old classic, the only X card in Stygian set. Spike of the Stygian. X cost, consume, apply 1 sap and 1 frostbite. This card sucks.
It's not great.
The frostbite feels like they were just like, hey, what are we doing? And they went, I don't know, how about frostbite? Applying 3 frostbite to an enemy.
3 energy, 3 like the 3 sap is definitely not the worst.
No, the 3 sap's
3
cool.
frostbite for 3 energy is like,
What are you
it's gonna
doing?
give a little tickle.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
This is like, you take this for the sap and the frostbite is non-existent.
I swear to God, I think all of these spikes are meant to be like energy dumps if you somehow get some sort of crazy energy synergy where it's like, oh, I've managed to accumulate 20 energy on this turn. I need to do something with all of this. I'll play Spike of the Stygian. Because like all of these spikes, when you're playing them for like the normal expected value, they are trash.
They're so
when
bad.
you end up having like, you know, somehow 100 energy, like they're better than most other X cards. Like, you know, you know, let's say Vent, for example, right? Vent is a much more playable card for 3 than Spike of the Stygian is. But for 100, I'd rather have Spike of the Stygian. I'm slapping them on Seraph. You're never gonna hit me, idiot.
Yeah, if you put 100 sap on Seraph, you've won the game. But
yeah, but that's never gonna like that's not never gonna happen. It's actually not that hard to have happen. But like, you have to have that first before taking this.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I don't think I've ever willingly taken this card.
Yeah, I have also. I mean, I've tried taking it when I first started playing, and I was like, I must be missing something. This is a rare. Like, the spikes are like some sort of like, you know, cool. Every clan has these, so they must be good, sort of thing. And I was just like, why don't you do more?
Yeah, it's not good. But like, it's okay, but it's not something you take it for the sap and you ignore the frostbite on it. Basically, I think that this card is exactly the same. If they removed the frostbite from this card, I probably wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
Up next, unless you have anything else.
No.
1 energy, spell, enhance all spells in hand with +5 magic power. Harness the Titan. That was alright. I've had good work with it.
Are you supposed to like put holdover on this? Is that like the plan?
What you're supposed to do with this card is you're supposed to take this and when you have a lot of multi-hitting spells, and then like after the first time through your deck, when you're down to like 13-ish cards, this scales up your spells pretty quickly.
I just thought of something right now that might be the way this is quote unquote supposed to work. I think you're supposed to give this holdover, give something else good holdover. I think you play this, play the other spell, draw them both again next turn, and you keep just stacking up +5 spell power on your Ice Storm or something like that. I think that might be like the intention here with this card.
I don't know. That seems like a lot of effort to just give +5 magic power. I think you mostly are meant to just use this to scale up the spells in your hand every now and then. +5 magic power.
I think that's what it's really for. I agree, but I think like the way you win with this card at High Covenant might be doing that, but that also seems pretty sketchy.
Yeah, that doesn't seem great to me. It's okay, right? If you have a lot of spells, you can take this. If you have this is a card that benefits a lot from having a lot of card draw as well.
Yeah. Starting with like 7 or 8 cards in your hand is nice. The more cards that get buffed by this, the better. But I agree with you that like magic power just seems not impactful enough to win.
Yeah, but this is a card that can like tip you over the edge, right? I've had it do a lot for me over the course of a run. Good. Anything else?
No.
Up next, 1 energy spell. Pyrebound, a new keyword. Deal 90 damage to the front enemy unit. Pyrebound means it can only be played in the pyre room or on the 3rd floor. This is ice and pyre. It's a good spell.
I went like 2 straight days when I first started streaming this game telling everyone who was like, hey, well, what is this game? How does it work? And then when I explained the rules of the game, I'd be like, you can't play spells in the pyre. And then, you know, day 3 of playing the game, this fucking card comes in and breaks the rules.
Yeah.
I lied to everyone.
I mean, you can play spells in the pyre, can't you?
I mean, like, yes, but like, there's no one there, I guess.
Yeah.
So I didn't do anything. But like, I thought that you couldn't do anything in the pyre room. I thought when enemies got there, that was it. You had to watch them fight your pyre.
Yeah. This spell's pretty good though. Like, this is a great nuke for heavies that sneak by you. It's a good one.
Good permafrost target.
Good hold. Not really good holdover.
Yeah, I got terrible holdover.
Terrible holdover.
The thing that's weird, if I remember correctly, when an enemy moves up to the pyre room, don't you have to like have enough energy from the previous turn or something to play the card?
So you can't play it on.
Is that kind of how it works?
You can't play it on an enemy in the pyre room unless you move them there yourself.
Really?
Yeah. Once an enemy moves in the pyre room, there is no time for you to play spells. The combat goes back and forth. The only time you can play this on someone in the pyre room is if you put them there yourself, if you ascended them in there.
I thought I had a time where I just played it on someone in the pirate room. I have to check the mechanic just to make sure. I'll do that some other time though.
Yeah, like check it out, fact check me there, but I'm like 90% sure that's how it works.
But this is a pretty weird, cool card. Good rate on damage for it, and it does a good job of killing the heavies that sneak past you.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else?
No.
Alright, up next, 1 energy, 0 attack, 1 health, 1 space, incant, apply sap 1 to enemy units, lodestone totem. I think this is the better totem. Sap is a good effect.
I think they're both good. I think it's debatable though.
This does the same thing as the armor totem.
Yes.
But
Well, it does a better immediate impact, but not a better lasting impact if you are over healing.
I think the most important thing to say about this totem is that if you play 2 spells on a Pyre Wings, that Pyre Wings, which is the one that puts the Ember Drain on you, does not get to Ember Drain you with this totem.
That is definitely a huge thing.
Like, this is a great thing for that purpose alone. And for the most part, like, I feel like as long as I don't have a different totem, I would always take this, but I feel like you can overload yourself on totems.
That's also true.
That's it. Anything else?
That's it. No.
No? Alright. Up next, 1 energy, 0 attack, 40 health, 1 space, incant, draw 1, and this unit gets -5 max HP, offering monument.
Is it -5 max, or does it lose just 5 HP?
It's -5 max. I've had multiple people tell me, oh man, I thought I was so smart, I put endless on my offering monument, and it just comes back at 1 HP.
I mean, that's not the worst, but that's not great either.
No, because what happens is, like, you incant it, and it just draws itself, basically.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't draw itself because of the way endless works, but it, like, you incant it, it draws you a card, and then next turn, the card that you would have drawn is offering monument instead, so it doesn't do you any good.
Is there a way to infinite this?
No.
No.
You would need to put max HP on it. Like, maybe if you had a way to buy max HP. I guess there is. This is a theoretical infinite. If you got the artifact, get 3 spell slots, and you are playing Awoken as your secondary, and you make the one that gives +10 max HP free, then you could theoretically use that card forever on this if you had no other cards.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Oh well.
It's good though, like I think it's fine. Just a little card advantage.
Is it good as like a tank? Not that like you like it's like an emergency tank, like, oh, I got this first draw, I have no other people to put in front of my Tethys. Is it good then?
Nah.
It's got 40 HP.
It's gonna get punched right through. You're gonna lose all the value. It's not worth it. I think you just use this as your like, hey, it's a little bit of draw to get you going in the first half of the deck. Like it cycles you through the deck faster to get through everything, and then you just let it go. And that's all I think you do with this card. And that's good. That's a good effect, right? Cycling through your first time through the deck faster is great. That's my take on it.
I still definitely like Armor Totem more.
Yeah, for sure. I think Armor Totem's a little better than this totem, but it's close. I think Lodestone Totem is better than both of them. But this totem does something different than the other two, so I feel like it's weird to compare them.
That is true. Lodestone and Armor Totem more or less have the same role, whereas this does a different thing entirely.
Yeah. It's good though. Like I think I've taken this a few times and been happy with it. Anything else you wish to add?
No.
Alright. Up next, 1 energy, spell, Pyre Bound, ascend all enemy units on this floor, apply Dazed 3. It is Siren's Song.
I fucking love Siren's Song.
It's such a great card. This is the card that makes me think that drafting Stygian rares is always right.
Also, I think you were sort of right about the art thing.
It's similar.
I think this is from like the after.
Ah.
Before, this is the after.
No, you're not wrong.
If you look at it before, it's like the person going down, and then this is what happens when you go all the way down.
Yeah, I see it.
Go to the bottom of the ocean.
Yep. Drowning.
It
Sucks. I don't think there's a situation where I wouldn't take one of this card. However, more than one is kind of weird.
Also, sorry about harping on the art here, but I think this is the guy from Rejuvenating Descent.
I think it's just a random dude. I think they all look the same.
It's the same. It's the same guy.
Alright, it's the same guy.
He's fucking dead now.
Oh no, he's drowning as hell.
Okay, I've seen you put double stack, I think, before on
Day
your song.
6.
How do you feel about that?
It's good. Day 6 kills pretty much every enemy. If you put a
Yeah,
unit in your pyre with 6 days on them, they have no chance of surviving unless it's like
maybe,
a boss.
maybe early, but I feel like late game, like days 3 is usually enough to kill almost everything, other than like the Gilded Wings.
Yeah, but like you're
Hopefully,
typically
hopefully by then they've taken some damage, and Pyre Song or Siren Song will just kill them.
yeah, similar to Ice and Pyre, perfect card for permafrost.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
And this is a good way to kill units that sneak by you, same as Ice and Pyre. Good. Great card. Take it like in any deck. There is not a situation where I would be upset to pick this card up. Anything you wish to add?
No.
Alright. Up next, 2 energy spell. Consume, discard your hand, draw 5, Deep Offering. Would you like to take the lead on this one?
No, you can take the lead on this one.
I've never played this card.
I've never played this card. And it's not that it's bad. I think there's a specific place where you want this. I just have never gotten the stars to align.
Yeah, this is a rare card that has a very specific niche and is very, very hard to play because it has to fit into its niche and you have to pick this.
Yeah, I think you obviously want some offering cards with it, because if you get to discard some offering cards, it's pretty cool. But you also like mandatory have to at least put 1 cost reduction on this card.
Yep.
It needs to at least cost 1 or 0, because then one way to think about it is, let's say this card costs 1, right? You play the good card in your hand that you have. You pay 1 more to pitch this and draw 5. That's great.
Yep.
That's so good.
Hopefully you trigger like 2 offering cards as well.
Well, that's not necessarily like required.
Yeah.
I think the draw 5 is the big appeal of this card, but you need to have a lot of energy or reduce the cost of it for the draw 5 to be worthwhile.
This card, to me, it feels like the capstone card of a deck archetype that doesn't exist. This feels like the card that you get and you go, this is nuts, when your entire deck is offering cards, but you can't build that deck. And as a result,
I think this is supposed to be for that incant deck that the channeling Typhus is supposed to be.
Maybe,
I thought of it. I think it's supposed to be you've made all of your damage cards cost 0, right? You have a hand full of damage cards and Deep Offering. You play them all for 0. You play Deep Offering. You draw 5 more damage spells. Play them all for 0. You've got 10 or 11 incant triggers, a bunch of damaging spells that cost 0. But then Seraph kills you.
Yeah, and then Seraph
kills
you.
That's the issue. That's always the issue with this, where it's like you do a really cool thing. It should be very good, but then the boss walks all over you. So I don't know how to make that. I don't know how to make that turn into a win from that point.
So step 1 is, instead of doing all of that, you just play better cards.
Yeah.
Like
maybe, I don't know.
It's okay, right? I don't know. I really don't have a whole lot of authority to speak on this card because I don't think I've actually ever paid 2 energy or 1 energy or 0 energy and played this card in my life.
When I think about it, if I get this like very early, I think reducing it to 0 makes this like an insanely good card.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And even for 1, is a pretty good card. But the fact that it's a rare means you're gonna probably find it later, and then you're gonna have less time to reduce the cost. And there's other cards that you've already planned on reducing the cost of. And it's a whole thing.
This is probably, I'm not 100%, but this is probably the only card in the game that draws you more than 1 card at a time that isn't an X cost card.
Or draws you in the next turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a single turn, draw multiple. I think they specifically are like super against infinites, and this card is dangerous for that, which is why it'll never be insanely good to me, because it's like they're being very careful to stop you from ever doing an infinite.
Voyix, I do want to say the very literal next card we're going to talk about does draw more than 1 card.
Yeah, you're right. But this is drawing 3 specific cards. I'm talking about just like straight up draw.
Yeah, that's true.
I have nothing else to say about Deep Offering. Would you like to move on?
No, I mean, yes, I have nothing else to say. I'm ready to move on.
Okay. 2 energy spell, draw 3 spells, and enhance them with consume plus 20 magic power and 0 cost. Gifts for a guard.
What happens if this draws a spell that already has consume?
Nothing. I mean, it just keeps consume.
Does it get the spell power still?
Yeah.
Okay. I've also played this card like 0 times.
I've played this card a few times. What I've been told, I've never done this for myself, but I have been told that if you have a card that has consume and you give it remove consume, and then draw it with this card, it does not consume.
Wait, hold on. So the remove consume effect applies no matter what happens to the card, basically.
Yes, that is what I have been told.
Nothing will make it consume.
Exactly. So you know,
is so fringe, like important.
But like imagine, right? Magical Christmas Land. You remove consume from your deep offering, then draw it with gifts from a guard, and you just have a 0 energy draw 5.
I don't even want that much.
Yeah, but imagine it. I don't know. Gifts for a guard. We're talking about gifts for a guard. I don't think this spell is great, but it is a good way to pump up a spell and give it an extra bit of damage.
I think this is a cool way if you didn't get permafrost on your, or even if you have permafrost, I guess, sort of on it. But if you didn't get permafrost on your big finisher, you could put it on this, I guess, instead for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happens, but like, so here's my Magical Christmas Land, right?
Okay, I'm ready.
You got Ice Storm. You've got the 3 spell slots for it, right?
Okay.
You put +10, +10, +20 in consume.
Okay.
Right? That's a big Ice Storm, right?
Yeah, that's a big Ice Storm.
Now you gifts for the guard on it. It now gets another +20. And then you has however much spell weakness you need for that to kill the boss in 1 hit.
Yeah, not a lot.
But it's not that much, right?
Yeah.
You probably do it with like 15 at that point.
Yeah, maybe. It's decent. It's weird. What I will say about this card is that it's worse if you have a lot of offering tokens, because you're just turning a lot of your offering tokens into consume cards. But it is a good way to thin out your deck over the course of a combat, which is something that you don't have a lot of access to in this game.
I'm starting to realize that, like, while I think the spell weakness deck does work, it always feels like when I'm thinking about it in my head, when I think to get the stars to align correctly, I feel like it's like a 5% chance of working, whereas I feel like if I just play the game normally, I might have like a 10% chance of winning instead or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the thing is, I think spell weakness is easier to do than we think, and we just have to do it.
Yeah,
that's my hot take. I think that spell weakness actually works. You have to find a finisher spell, and when you're looking at this set, it's like, oh, there's not a whole lot of finisher spells, but you start to look at the other card sets and you go, oh, we could combo this with spell weakness, right? I think there's a lot of good Umbra cards for this in particular.
I would go as far as that. I think Gifts for the Guard might be better than we realized too, because I think Gifts for the Guard just makes one of your non-finishers a finisher.
That's true. It's
like,
not bad.
12 hour is huge. That's you know, on Helix Crystal, that's plus 40 damage on it. That puts it in that, 80 to 100 damage range we're talking about.
Yeah. Now the big thing to say about it though is this does draw you 3 random spells you don't get to pick, so that is the big downside. However, it doesn't consume.
Does it work the same sort of way with Channel Song, where it's like if it has no targets, it'll pick from your discard pile?
Yes, it does.
Could you just intentionally have very few spells? Like,
yeah,
you apply your damage with you apply spell weakness with units, and then you just intentionally have very few spells in the deck?
You can try, but then you're like, so that you start with 10 spells unless you're playing with Melting, in which case you start with 5, and then so you have to remove all of those, add in specific spells that you want and nothing else, and then hope you get Gifts for a Guard and don't die in the first 2 floors.
It's Train Steward's time to shine.
Oh baby, time to buff up that bad boy. I think Gifts for a Guard is okay. It's a card that you can theory craft and like, oh man, this would be so cool, but in practice I think this card just whiffs a lot of the time and you go, that sucked. Because it is 2 energy. You're not doing, like, the 3 spells you draw is like the rest of your turn plus 1 energy on one other card, you typically.
I think pretty often, even if it just, like, in like the worst case scenario, it just pulls 3 starter cards.
And you just burn them.
It's not that bad still.
Yeah, it's still okay.
Yeah.
One thing to note, I think this card only can take cost reduction upgrades, right?
I have no idea. I haven't thought about that yet.
Alright.
Yo, imagine if Double Stack puts plus 40 magic power.
Oh shit. Card. Oh, you can put a holdover on this, I guess.
That's true. It itself does not consume.
Right.
That is true.
It's okay. It's probably better than I think it is, honestly. But I need to play with it more. And it's a rare card, so it's hard to really test out, I feel like. Anything else you wish to say?
No.
Alright. Second to last. 2 energy, spell. Transfer all Frostbite on this floor to a unit, and then double the amount of Frostbite. Hoarfrost Effigy. Just weird.
I think is a good card for your finisher for Frostbite decks.
It depends. If you're playing a Frostbite deck that applies all its Frostbite through your units, Frostbite Tethys, Frostbite Shark, Frostbite Colcalia, I think this card typically doesn't do you any good. If you're applying your Frostbite through spells, throw holdover -1 cost on this thing and you win the game.
I've had times where I've done the unit strategy and I just like I have them all set up on like my game plan is I set them all on floor 1. Floor 2, I play this on the boss. Floor 3, I play this on the boss again.
Yep.
Hopefully this kills them now.
The big thing to note is that Frostbite does cap at 999, right?
I didn't know that. I have no idea if and when Frostbite caps.
I believe it does. However, I could be wrong.
You know, I think that's dumb. I'm gonna take a second here to vent about that if that is true.
I think it's true.
That makes no sense to me to have a damage number cap below the max HP of the enemies.
Boy, let me tell you about Retropolis.
Oh, don't even tell me about that.
That's another 2-hour video right there.
Like I feel like if you're gonna, Slay the Spire gave you the armor cap of 999, right? With the exception of like units that like who has like a literal hard damage cap on it. No one has. There aren't enemies hitting for 3,000 damage in Slay the Spire.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not like, oh, I've gained the armor cap now. Something is going to hurt me. I feel like the same way with damage, where it's like, oh, I've brought my damage to an absurd degree, but it's still gonna kill me.
So, I will counter this point by saying that at 999 Frostbite, you only need 4 rounds to kill Seraph.
I know.
And it's like, in most situations, even if you just put down like 1 Train Steward, Seraph is going to take 2 rounds, it's going to be 2,000. Like, for the most part, it's not that big of a deal. You're typically going to be fine. Like, it's not going to kill you. But it is weird, I agree. I think one thing I will say, this is a good card for... This card is better against major bosses, but also sometimes it's worse. I've had situations with this card where I've been like, oh man, I really got to transfer my Frostbite to this heavy or else he's going to do 30 damage to my Pyre. But if I do that, I'm going to steal like 200 off of the boss and never get it back.
That's something I didn't think about. I always, when I think about this card, think about using it on the boss to kill them.
I have had situations where I've needed this to kill heavies. It's good though. Like if you're playing a lot of Frostbite, you should probably pick this card.
I just noticed that like because it's an effigy, it has like a little face written on the side. Pretty nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Looks
like he's crying though, so I'm a little upset about that.
Yeah, he's crying rivers of magical energy. Anything else?
The obvious comparison to this is Catalyst from Slay the Spire because Frostbite interacts the exact same way basically as Poison does in that game.
It is. Yeah.
I think that if there was a card in Slay the Spire that was this card without the transfer part is annoying, right? How amazing would this card be if it didn't have the transfer effect?
Oh, it'd be really strong. It'd be an auto.
The transfer effect more often than not just screws you over by like removing Frostbite you didn't want removed from a creature and putting it on someone else.
This card would be an auto include in every Frostbite deck if it didn't say transfer.
Yeah, I try to just evaluate it because like the situation where you want it is that where you only care about the doubling, but it is important to keep in mind that it can screw you over by stealing frost from other enemies.
It's good though. I think that it's typically a take. It's fun to play with as well. The big numbers fun.
That's true.
Closing thoughts?
No thoughts.
Finally, final card. 3 energy spell. Deal damage to the front enemy unit equal to 2 times the number of spells in your deck. 3 times. Ancient Synergy. First of all, what a confusing card text.
Yeah.
Probably, holy shit. But the way that this works is if you have 17 spells in your deck, this will do 34 damage 3 times to the front enemy. So it'll do 34.
I assume that 34 will get added to each time if you enhance this with plus 10 spell power, correct?
Yes. So the 2x does not change, but the 3 times. So if you had 0 spells and you gave this plus 10, this would still do 30.
Could you imagine if the 2x changed so it was 12 times?
Oh,
we added plus 10 to 2, so it's 12 now.
Oh god, that would be pretty strong. I think this is a pretty strong finishing card for your deck.
I think this is what you use if you don't get Ice Storm.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Ice Storm is what you use if you don't get this.
How many spells do you want to have in your deck to make this card good?
So let's keep in mind that this is the boss killer that we keep talking about in the spell weakness deck, right?
Yep. For sure.
It's well, if we wanted to do 80 to 100 damage, like we said before, it's gotta be
15.
Yeah.
And that's a really easy number to get to.
Yeah. You start with like 10.
Yeah, you start with
unless you're what's it called? Unless you're the melting.
Yep. You start with 10.
So,
this card's pretty good. Like it's better than I think, for sure.
Still have not won with it yet.
I have actually.
I've not gotten a win yet with it, but I think that's because I had to start trying to make the spell weakness deck work.
I think that this card works outside of spell weakness though, because even in its bad cases, this is like, you know, probably say 20 spells is a decent number to be at, and that's like what? That's 120 damage. That's a lot of damage. Still swift.
It is 3 times, so if you do manage to kill the front unit in your first 2 hits, you're starting to soften up the back line there.
Yep. It's a good spell. Like I think that this is a pretty strong take in a lot of situations if you don't have a better spell than it. Yeah. Anything else you wish to add?
No.
Alright, closing rare card thoughts for Stygian.
Pretty good.
Yeah, like I think they have like 1 or 2. Now, I would say they probably have 3 cards that I think as rares I'm just like, I don't know about this. But for the most part, these are like situationally good to always good.
The only actual dud is the spike, I think.
Yeah, like for real, spike, like what the fuck are you doing here? And even that card is like, if you can generate 4 or 5 energy, 5 sap is pretty nice.
I think Ice and Pyre is kind of a weird card because I think I just prefer Siren Song over it.
Yeah, but like they're both good.
Yeah.
I mean, I did say I kind of want to go back to Tethys, but I'm going to tell you, I don't think my feelings towards Tethys have changed. How about yourself?
Well, let me look at him again. Hold on.
I feel like Tethys, I feel like everything that I said about Tethys that my opinions were going to change about, I said when we were talking about Icy Scylla.
Do not be fooled by your harmless demeanor. Tethys was the first to agree to the containment of the Titan for our covenant's sake. I was reading the flavor text.
She has since become the most She?
Yeah.
You've been calling her he this whole time.
You don't know that.
She has since become the most revered member of the Stygian Guard and my most helpful supporter in the defense of Hell. What more is there to say than that?
I think that Tethys does like a better job than most champions of being your carry just because I always force Frostbite.
I gotta tell you.
And in that, like, when it works, it works. Like, Tethys can, like, if you have a strong tank in the front line, will more or less 1v1 Seraph.
Yeah, I think that Tethys is, like, the worst hero, but also is still strong. Like, in my power ranking, I think Tethys is the worst, and I still think Tethys is good. I just think I need to learn how to play Tethys a little better, which is what I'm going to be focusing on here in the coming days. Yeah. I suppose that does it, huh? Stygian on the books. This was a longer one than the last 2.
Was it?
Yeah, the last 2 were like an hour and a half, and this one's closing in on 2 hours.
Oh my god.
I had a lot more to say about Stygian. They got a lot of weird mechanics.
They do.
Well, I suppose that brings us to the end. Would you like to...
I'm going to say goodbye this time.
Okay.
I felt bad for not saying it last time. It was spiteful of me to not do so.
Alright, would you like to say goodbye first or second?
I'll say goodbye first. Thank you for watching the video.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my goodbye.
Alright. Thank you for watching the video from me as well. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to comment which is the cutest unit in Monster Train by Card Art. And yeah. Subscribe for more. We got these coming out every day. It could be Tethys. Sure, why not? You know, Tethys faction? Maybe. Although look at those teeth. I don't know. Anyway. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good one. See you in the next one.